Hello, my name is Luca Estinto, and I'm here to talk about the inception and development of Bioshock. Developed by Irrational Studios over a period of 5 years, from 2002 to 2007, Bioshock would become an iconic game of its time in the city of Rapture, a famous setting in video game history. Yet, despite Bioshock's fame and iconicism today, it had quite a rough beginning. Irrational Games, a continuation of Looking Glass Studios, was the previous publisher of a game known as System Shock 2. An excellent, yet not so popular cyberpunk-themed survival horror set in space, one may quickly note the parallels between Bioshock and System Shock. And indeed, Bioshock was designed to be, and is in many ways, the spiritual successor of System Shock. Seen here, we can see some pages from the original concept document for the game. One finds that the paper doesn't sound a whole lot like Bioshock. In brief, it describes an occult group on a remote island turning men into fish people cyborgs whom you, the protagonist, have to save by deep brainwashing them. Sounds like an entirely different game, huh? But we can still find some parallels. There may not be any brainwashed occultists to deprogram, except for, you.
Would you kindly get this?
People are still modified genetically with the help of aquatic slugs. Ryan's turrets will hunt you down, and Mr. Bubbles could be seen as a steampunk version of a cyborg killer. Yet these are still some pretty radical differences, and truth be told, Bioshock's initial designs were all over the place, like this guy, Jellyman, an early concept drawing of an enemy which, while is reminiscent of the Splicers, aligns more with the old System Shock style of artwork. Designers reportedly struggled to find a consistent design, with the game now looking more and more like the gray corridors they had once designed. And many iconic game elements, such as the Little Sisters, commanded a bit less sympathy in their original design as well, as they were originally, sea slugs. Much of what is liked about Bioshock and what makes the game my personal favorite is its visual and auditory style. The opulent Art Deco design of the buildings, gilded structures, and fixtures conveyed the objectivist ideals of Andrew Ryan. But yet, they did not quite fit the time period to the city's creation, the 40s, rather than the late 20s. Perhaps it was the goal of the artist to say that this was the height of American design, and if you were to sacrifice everything for aesthetics, this is what you'd end up with. I'm inclined to agree. So while Bioshock may have always supposed to have been of an undersea theme, how did the designers go from this to this? The cause for the shift in style can be answered in many ways. The practical reason given by lead animator Sean Robinson in an interview with IGN was that the Art Deco was a nice art style comprised of large geometric shapes, meaning low poly count and thus easier rendering. Another source comes from lead designer Ken Levine, who reportedly came up with the Art Deco theme when standing in front of the statue of Atlas in New York City. Levine thought that this style was unexplored territory for a video game, and moreover, the story of how the GE building, which Atlas stands in front of, was completed by a single man, John D. Rockefeller, laid the groundwork for the story of Andrew Ryan building his city of Rapture. But beyond mere animation efficiency or being an unexplored style, I feel the design of Rapture had one more important factor. It created contrast. The opulence and clean design of the cities make the messy horror that occupies it all the more disturbing than if they were simply to be placed in a grisly corridor. And let's not forget the audio either. The screams of the damned and indeed your own hellish existence around you is constantly mocked by the quiet lyrics of the once popular songs of the era.
It's no matter, darling, where you are. I think of you night and day.
The sunbeams that shine, they're yours, they're mine.
To end on the note of audio, Bioshock's last key design element, one which is fully borrowed from that of System Shock, is the way in which the story is told. Very rarely does your character interact in person with anyone in a way that progresses the story. Instead, the narrative is carried almost exclusively via audio. Throughout the game, you as the player are contacted via radio by the citizens of Rapture. And, just as in System Shock, you are guided or discouraged by the various voices over your communicator. This was done partly to create an atmosphere of isolation, but also as a means of cutting down development costs. Furthermore, like in System Shock, much of the game's story can be found in audio logs scattered throughout the world. While the player is encouraged to listen to them, it is not required that they do so. Quite an interesting choice, considering how much of the rich and complex narrative they weave into the fantastic world of Rapture.
The party's over now, the dawn is drawing very nigh. Let's creep away from the day and allow me to say goodbye.